Madam Chair, Mr. President, distinguished guests, members of the Platform Party, graduates, ladies and gentlemen. It is my great pleasure and honor to introduce Dr. Antonio D'Alfonso, who is today being awarded the Honorary Doctor of Letters by Athabasca University. Antonio was born in Montreal and grew up speaking Italian, French, and English. Inspired by this polyglot background and the growing awareness of the English-French language divide, he founded Guernica Editions in 1978 as a bilingual press. The dual purpose he envisioned for this press was to promote both French and English Canadian literatures and to create a home for ethnic minority writers whose work did not fit neatly into the plans of the bigger publishing houses. Over a long career, he edited and published several hundred Canadian writers. He translated Quebec authors into English to promote understanding across diverse cultural groups. His own creative writing, and he has many, many books in English and French, has been the focus of study of both MA and PhD theses in North America and Europe. And many Guernica books have been used in our Athabasca University literature courses at both the graduate and undergraduate levels. The professors from across Canada who supported his nomination for this honor all pointed to his significant contribution to Canadian literature and to Canadian studies generally, to make them more inclusive of ethnic diversity. Dr. Antonio D'Alfonso quietly helped to change our perception about our Canadian culture. To me, Antonio D'Alfonso is an outstanding example of the mission of Athabasca University, the mission of lifelong learning and helping the disadvantaged student. After a long career in publishing and translation, Antonio went back to school and earned a PhD from the University of Toronto at age 58. Like many of you, he believes in lifelong learning. Over his long career, Antonio also mentored many young writers to develop their creative writing skills, and he also helped disadvantaged writers with minority backgrounds to advance in the very competitive field of publishing in Canada. In fact, he was very brave to start a press to begin with. I am very proud to present to you Dr. Antonio D'Alfonso.
Can I do that? All greetings and Madam Chair, Mr. President, distinguished guests, members of the Platform Party, graduates and graduates, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to thank you for giving me this honor. In particular, Dr. Veronica Thompson, Dr. Menahe Manini, Dr. Vivian Turvin Gadum, Mr. Peter McKinnon, and Dr. Joe Pivato, and all the Athabasca staff who organized this convention ceremony. Grazie. This is for you, but let me talk this way. At times I wonder if that young man my family called Tonino is the same person as this elderly, paunchy fellow people call Antonio. There are times when one of us would complain, wondering how our diverging paths could ever converge into making our family. Yet, they did converge, and I am glad they did. I am the product of that family love. I would be nobody without my family and relatives. People called my paternal grandfather Nicola, though his real name was Antonio. That did not matter much for the bureaucracy. He signed his name with a large X. This anonymous X is part of my reality. Many years later, I would find myself standing in front of a famous Chicago blues guitar player and asked him if he would be kind enough to sign my copy of his record. This tall, imposing man turned his eyes to the woman sitting to his side, who gently put her hand on the blues master's long fingers. A silence followed. In a flash, I understood what was happening. I pulled out my pen and quietly bent over and said, "I understand." LJ, the guitarist, took my pen and drew a large X on the CD in fold. We exchanged a smile, shook hands. The X. Many men and women I loved, love, admire, read very little, write very little. They learned to write their lives using a different language. They could grow vegetables in the worst kind of soil, build houses faster than I could write a poem. Whenever I write, I keep these men and women in mind. I have no idea why I chose to read and write, but one day I decided to take reading and writing seriously. I could have done quite well playing guitar. Outside music, they lay something solid about words that called out to me. I would not be standing here had I never read writers, good and bad. What is it about learning to read and write that turns one's life inside out? Reading taught me that I am never alone in this universe. To know that my joy and my sadness was expressed and analyzed by some stranger who wrote 1,000 years ago brings about a profound peace of mind. I feel relieved to know that I might not be that crazy after all. No matter how sad you are, there's always an article, a story, the lyrics of a song that will make you smile again. That's how I started to read. I must have been 12 years old when I began to read the lyrics of the pop songs we used to hear in AM radios. I was starting to distinguish words that many thought were behind words that were being said. Reading is mostly about learning the meaning of sounds and silences. If the reading process has to start somewhere, then that somewhere is a single thought. I started to understand thoughts and then concepts and started to make connections. Yet to delve into my own thoughts, I had to learn to read. If I did not read, my thoughts could not be expressed. If thoughts do not develop, they become petrified. They risk becoming as hard as stone. When that happens, thoughts can be very harmful. Reading opened doors. I wanted to live in a house with many windows and many doors. I decided to dedicate my life to encourage and to promote reading. Through literature, I wanted to bridge cultures. I even invented an Esperanto term for what I was doing, cultur cruzado. What I wanted, and in effect was criticized for doing so, was to promote pluriculturalism and plurilingualism. Success is not about winning. Success is about endurance. Like Confucius said, it is about getting back on your feet every time you fall. I use translation to keep this sort of spirit of generosity healthy. I never said, I don't understand, I don't speak your language. I always said, I believe I understand you. Emigration, immigration are not passing fads. Rather, staying put in one place is the exception. Most of the people you will meet come from another planet. We have been traveling the universe, metaphorically speaking, since we set foot on dry land. We all come from elsewhere. I've come to this space today thanks to thousands and thousands of encounters, directly or in translation. It is thanks to translation that we are able to successfully communicate with one another. I have learned many languages as I could. I write in different languages, but even that is never enough. I encourage my daughters to learn as many different languages as possible. And I tell them, you don't have to master them. I've done less than 1% of all that remains to be done. It is in your hands now. The future is you. Life is about saying yes to love. Your university taught me how to say yes and to question every answer. Your university taught me how to stretch the arms of my grandfather's ex and turn them into my family name. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Antonio Defonso, for your inspirational and truly thought-provoking words. I'm sure our graduates have many thoughts that you've shared with us that they can take forward as they continue in their path. John Terrodes of the Toronto Star describes ASANI music as infused with First Nations, drumming and chant, but it goes well beyond that, with the sounds of folk, blues, a bit of jazz, and the soulful insistence of traditional spirituals. ASANI means rock in Cree, and the three singers are not afraid to hurl themselves at our windows of complacency, both within and outside their communities. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome ASANI.
Thank you. Thank you. As we started today's celebration, we shared with you a song that we recently composed specifically for for this celebration, for this event. Mr. Heikisik is about acknowledging the hard work and commitment in studies, and it asks that you go forward and do great things. Go forward into the big, great, vast sky and do good things.
This next song is in Cree. It's a Cree blessing song. My friend, I sing this song for you. I ask the Creator to give you a good life and lots of love. Ni wichi wagan, ni tikoche, ni wichi wagan, kin kamosta maten, ki manito minao, ninto tamawao. Mr. Hey, Sagihit the wind, Kia Wawoche, Weya, Heya, Niye, Weya, Heya, Niye. Ni wichi wagan, ni tikoche, ni wichi wagan, kin kamosta maten, ki manito minao, ninto tamawao, we'll be matzi, Eva Mr. Hey, Sagihit the wind, Kia Wawoche,
Thank you.